Hello there, and welcome to In My Opinion for Post-Trauma. The story starts off with our lead Roman waking up in a train, but one that looks like it's been ripped from a horror film or New York. He does eventually escape, only to notice he's woken up with no memory of how he got here, and that he's completely alone, well, unless you count the creatures that pop up, and some mannequins. So now he must survive to find his way out and why he's here. The game does a good job hooking you in with its mystery, and Roman does feel like an everyday man just trying to get out of this insane situation. And when he does run into others like Freya, he never comes off awful, just really confused. You are given little drips of info within documents and audio logs, and by the end I felt like I had a decent understanding of how all this adds up. Though there are certain things that still left me confused, like Carlos and his whole bag. This is a survival horror game, and usually this genre can fall into some different areas. Focus on action, focus on exploration and puzzles, or maybe a good balance of both. If you're more into action, this one may not be for you, as while it has a tiny bit of combat, it's more focused on exploration and puzzles. The combat is pretty simple, as you get one weapon in each new section, and it's lost when you go to the next one. It's usually a melee weapon like a sledgehammer, and it's simple as holding the aim button and attacking with some meter management, as going for a swing drains some stamina, and dodging does this as well. Though to be honest, you'll probably run into maybe 2 to 4 monsters a section, which is why I said it's not really a combat focused game. With that part being so minimal, you will hope it make up for puzzles and some exploration, which it does. The train puzzle at the very start of the game basically lets you know the type of puzzles you're in for. I'll admit, I was kinda stumped for a bit, but once I looked around my surroundings and saw what was being asked of me, I slowly put it together and got the correct code for the lock. The puzzles can be a bit tough, but fair, and be prepared to take pictures with your real life phone, as the game doesn't jot down notes or clues. There are some clues that are close to the area of the puzzle, but there are others that are more spread around that you wouldn't easily remember. And there's sometimes items you have to find to help complete a puzzle. To be honest, there was only one puzzle that I felt was bullshit, and the game doesn't really help you out at all with it, and I ended up just using the guide online. This puzzle's all the way at the end and can go fuck itself. The overall movement feels rather good while exploring, and the game does have fixed camera angles, which is always a treat to see, and it doesn't really get in the way of getting around. Also, there's no real chance of being lost since each area, while nicely sized, is not some massive map, which does help with backtracking since you'll be looking for clues and solving puzzles. As I mentioned, you do have a stamina bar, so that does drain while running around, but it drains slowly and fills up quickly. That combined with the little combat you do, it really seems it wasn't necessary. There is another section of the game where you'll be playing as a character named Carlos in first person mode. And these are just bite-sized parts of the game. It's all in a small station and it's mainly puzzles, except there's something in the flooded area trying to kill you, and if it grabs you a certain amount of times, you're dead. It controls fine, and the puzzles like the rest fall in the tough but fair side of things. There are 2 endings you can get depending on what you do at a certain point at the end. You can get both if you save right before that moment, but I don't want to say much cause it could count as spoilers. But don't worry about saving too much as there's no limit. The atmosphere for this game is fantastic, no matter the area you're in, be it the starting subway or the creepy school with its own dark story. While I don't think fixed camera angles are mandatory for good horror atmosphere, I'm not mad it's here, and the angles they pick up are some really good ones and don't interfere with the visuals. The character designs ain't bad, and our lead is like your average Joe that is legit confused and scared. The few creatures you run into are creepy looking and surely will leave a mark. I also like the visual cue of the scratch film filter when an enemy is near, as it adds to the atmosphere. I find the voice acting just okay for the most part, with some being a little better than others. I didn't run into any bugs along the way, and the game runs well from my experience.
Are you okay?
I think so. My head hurts. Do you know where we are?
School.
I got that, but it's not my school. All the other rooms have been... I recognize them, but I don't recognize this one.
Weird. Sounds like a mystery.
I had a great time with this game as I enjoyed its gloomy atmosphere and design of its world. It also kept me interested in the story all the way through, and while it's not big on combat, the puzzles it threw at me were both fun and fair, except for that crappy last one. It took me around 6 hours to get through the whole game, and when it comes to replay value, there's just getting the second ending. Though, as I mentioned before, you can't get that through with one single playthrough. I feel if you're in the mood for a horror title that has more focus on puzzles and exploration, then this is an easy recommend. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on this game, and for gamer's sake, keep gaming.